is the Influencer Entrepreneurs Podcast with Jenny Melrose, where I strategize with business owners on how to grow and scale their businesses to hit their income goals. This is episode 370 of the Influencer Entrepreneurs Podcast with Jenny Melrose. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into the different types of content pillars. And if you've been listening to the podcast, you know that we spoke about content pillars last week. We kind of did a basic level of trying to understand exactly what they are. Now, today, we're going to do a deeper dive into it. And if you are curious on how my Insiders group works, my membership site, then this is going to give you an even better idea, because what we do is we break down the content into bite-sized trainings, just like the podcast episode, whereas we also add in the accountability to make sure that you're implementing what is being taught, as well as the opportunity that via Zoom, when I do the trainings, you're able to ask any individualized questions that you have that may pertain to your site. So if you are enjoying this type of trainings where we're going deeper and deeper into understanding how you can implement these different strategies, definitely join the Insiders group. And that is going to be linked for you right within the blog post. So pop on over and join in. It is a monthly membership where you get weekly trainings as well as a group coaching call once per month. And you can cancel at any time, as well as continue to stay with us as long as you want. All right, so let's really start to talk about this deep dive into the different content pillars. We talked about it a little bit last week. We talked about what are content pillars and why they are important, because they help you really be able to create these silos of information that allow your people to see you as the resource for your content, for solving the problem that your audience has. So we go even further into explaining exactly what content pillars are and why they are important in an episode 2 weeks ago. Make sure that you jump over to that. It is linked in the show notes, of course, as well. So let's talk about the types of content pillars specifically for blog content. Now, I briefly mentioned these 2 weeks ago when we were talking about what the types of pillars are. But when we are looking at blog content, the first piece of a pillar could be a how-to. And the how-to is going to walk them from step 1 or step A all the way to step Z until they have a completed project. Now, some of you probably have this type of content, and it can be for different niches. It doesn't just have to be a how-to, and we think, oh, DIYers, those are how-tos. And we think of one single blog post as a how-to because you're going to teach me how to go through and build a desk. That's not necessarily exactly what we're talking about here. A how-to is going to be every piece of that desk. So if you walk me through picking the wood for the desk and being able to put the pieces together, and then my next article may go through and talk to me about sanding a desk and what you are going to be looking for in putting on what hardware you're going to pick out for the desk. And then your next blog post is going to talk to me about the different types of stains or how to go about painting it or what you should be using. All of the pieces of information that could spider off of a how-to that's going to teach me how to create my own desk. Those are the content pillars, the how-to of what we're going to do. And that's an example just for a DIY, but it could also be a food blogger. How to completely understand how to cook chicken multiple ways so that you can use it in a soup, whether you're roasting it, whether you are going to put it in a crock pot, whether you're going to boil it, whether you're going to air fry it, all of the different ways. That's your how-to, being able to get from step A to step Z. So they have the complete process. The next content pillar for blog content is a what is, right? The what is going to go about explaining something thoroughly. So if I didn't understand homesteading gardening, that could be a content pillar where I'm going to give a complete explanation of going how to start a homesteading garden. Now, of course, it's not that basic, which is why it's a content pillar, because you're going to build upon that information. But you can see it's not a how-to. It's not a step A all the way to step C. There's not a complete form. It's an explanation of what is homestead gardening, okay? Your next content pillar for blog content is going to be a guide. And the guide is going to give me all the resources that I could potentially need in order to complete or do something or create a recipe, okay? And that could be like, let's say you're going to be creating Thanksgiving dinner, and here's a guide on how to be able to plan to make sure that you have the complete Thanksgiving dinner. And it's going to give me all the different recipes, and it's going to give me all the planning tips, and it's going to give me all the things that I could potentially need in order to create the perfect Thanksgiving dinner. That's going to be that guide. And then again, it's going to be a content pillar. And then the fourth and last one is going to be a resource. The resource could provide all of the different aspects that you have already created. So let's say you are I have a client actually that this works for that has created a resource where she is a supervisor for psychologists in Texas, and she has gone through and has created a resource with all of the psychologists that maybe do play therapy for the Texas area. And then she's going to have a resource that talks about all of the psychologists in the Texas area that do marriage counseling, whatever it might be. It's a resource that provides everything into one place that they can kind of make sure that they go out and take a look at. A resource could also be if you are a travel blogger and you're trying to give all of the information that you could potentially need in order to travel to Ireland. What are all of the links that you would need to provide them with? Okay.
Hey there, guys. My name is Melanie from Mostly Under Control, and I am a member of Jenny's Influencer Entrepreneurs Insiders membership. I've been a part of it since 2017, and over these 6 years, I've taken full advantage of the weekly trainings that Jenny offers and the monthly group coaching. The group coaching is probably my favorite part of the membership. Jenny has taught me so many things for my business. She helped me niche down and write and teach about what I wanted so that I wouldn't burn out. In addition to what she teaches, the networking I've done with other members has been invaluable. I recommend her membership to all of my online business owner friends because it is worth every single penny.
Now, we've talked about the types of content pillar for blog content, broken down each when we are looking at this. Now what I want to do is look at the types of content pillars for email and social media marketing, because they're going to be very similar, okay? When you are looking at email and social media, you're going to approach it from the same aspect. One of the pillars can be inspirational. You're trying to inspire your people to want to clean their home or to want to spend more time with their significant other by doing date nights. And you're going to inspire them with that content. It is going to give glimpses and stories. And again, this is why we're thinking of email and social, because it's going to give you an opportunity to inspire them with the stories that you share in order to then send them to these the blog content that you've created within those content pillars. The next one of content pillar for email and social media is going to be educational. You're going to teach them something within the content that you create. And again, anytime that you are doing social media or email marketing, you want to have a call to action, regardless of what it is which content pillar you are using for this. But you want to have that call to action so that is where they can get the full answer. So when we're looking at the educational piece, you hit on some pain points. You talk about how you can help them and show them that this is what the next step is. And you have the call to action that's going to send them to the blog post. That's going to give them more information about it so that they can truly have their problem answered. The third content pillar for email and social media is going to be entertainment. So when we're looking at this, how are you entertaining them? What kind of stories are you telling them? And again, always a call to action that's going to have somewhere to send them. You're not completely entertaining them and telling them a story. Even if you're doing a reel, you still want to have a call to action. There still needs to be something that you are trying to get them to do so that you can actually measure the ROI of your efforts in what you are doing. The fourth content pillar is going to be advocacy. So some of you may talk about loss, or some of you may talk about body image. This is where you're going to come from that standpoint of advocating. But again, always a call to action within that. That content should always still have it. You want to make sure that you are doing it from a point of what your tugs at your heart, you value when you are advocating for something, and make sure that it ties into what you do. You do not randomly want to start advocating for something that your people don't understand where this is coming from. It seems to come out of left field. You have to tie it back to what it is that you naturally talk about in your business. So if you're a DIYer and you want to be able to talk about helping foster families that are looking to bring new kids in, you can do that, but you have to tie it in. You got to be able to tell those stories that show the reason why you're advocating for that and how it's still important to you and ties into your content and what you create. The last type of content pillar for email and social media marketing is going to be promotional. It is going to be, the purpose is to sell something. It is a promotional email. It is a promotional social media post. But again, it isn't just simply buy this, do this now. We are not used car salesmen. This is where you are hitting on the pain points, showing them that you solve it, and then offering a solution for them. And again, for those that have ever heard me talk about sales, if you do not put it out there, you are being selfish because you are not fully helping the people that you could help. So don't think of it as I'm selling, I'm being promotional. What you're doing is taking them on a journey to see that you can solve the problem for them. And in order to fully be able to do that, there's only so much you can do through a blog post. You need to be able to help them one-on-one through a product, an ebook, a course, whatever it looks like for you and the type of content that you create. All right, you guys, we have really made sure that we break down each of these because I want you to see how you can tie your blog content then into your marketing purposes. Your blog content is meant to establish you as that expert, and then you're meant to use your email and social media marketing in order to push that content out through your stories and through showing how you can be that expert for them. All right. Again, if you are finding that this training is so helpful just on the podcast from listening, and you want to be able to say, wait, Jenny, I have a question. How does this pertain to a parenting blogger that specifically is within the niche of loss? Well, join the Insiders group because that's where you're going to be able to get that one-on-one and be able to get your specific questions answered all via Zoom. I do everything live with you on the call with me with your video on so that you can have your questions answered. I do not take what I do lightly. I know that I can help you move your business along, but you have to be able to give me the time and be able to want to provide me with that accountability for yourself. All right, you guys, until next time, I will see you all then.